Utilities are a thing of the past. It's only a matter of time before they're not a use to society, because everyone's gonna have their own ability to make their own power. And so it's gonna be communities where they have their batteries in their garage and they have their solar panels on the roof and they have their electric cars in their garage. And so they generate their own electricity. The growing demand of the grid, it's at to a point right now where the utilities can't handle it. We have to do this because we don't have a choice. People call me a wannabe, they call me a farce, they call me charlatan. This is an off-grid system, so we're not connected to the grid. It's a rogue setup because there's a ton of people that don't want you to do this, right? And starting from the government, and the utilities, they don't want you to run off-grid systems when you're in the city. They say that's for people that are way out there in the mountains, right? But we want to take control of our energy, so that's why we're doing off-grid systems. My name is Jehu Garcia, and I'm a hardcore DIYer. A power wall is a term that Tesla came up with. It's essentially a battery for a building, for a home or a business. These are the solar charge controllers. This cable here goes to my roof where I have solar panels, and this charges all these batteries. You send all that power from your solar panels to charge your electric car or just to watch TV, right? I think it's a growing number of people that seem to be interested in energy. Energy is a big thing moving into the future.
We have a variety of capabilities here because we're a maker space where we're trying to accommodate as many customers as possible in their attempts to make different batteries. A battery in any form is an electrochemical energy storage device. Lithium-ion batteries are pretty much everywhere that you have a rechargeable device right now. Your cell phone, your tablet, your laptop computer. There's just a lot of technology that is being enabled with batteries. Cleaner burning vehicles, longer lasting devices that increase our productivity, and electric vehicles. Anything that we use that's electronic has some sort of energy storage in it. I think it makes more sense as we continue to incorporate batteries into more and more aspects of our life to start really focusing on secondary life of these cells so that they can just be made into another new battery. If we don't come up with a good way to recycle batteries, the future is going to get rough.
I don't have any training. I'm not a technician. I'm not an electronic engineer. I'm not even an engineer, by degree. But I do a lot of engineering. So here's how you make a DIY power wall. Now we fired up the soldering iron. We're gonna wire all these batteries together. We're gonna do it the way Tesla does it. When I look back in my life, every single thing that I do it different than everyone else. The DIY spirit really started really early with me. Growing up as a kid, I wasn't allowed to go to school, and so my parents were forced to give me an education. The way that I learned stuff was not the common way, right? It wasn't like everyone else. I'm a full-time YouTuber now, and I'm doing battery stuff all the time. This morning, the comments are already funny. People saying that I'm gonna blow up. It's a weird thing because who thinks about batteries? Like, batteries are non-existing until they go dead. Once you realize that batteries are just a container for energy, then you realize that the applications are a lot more. 4 years ago, I decided that I was gonna DIY an electric car. So this is the electric motor that I installed in my bus. It's 100 horsepower, and it goes forever without any maintenance. And I did it all by myself here in my garage, right where it sits right here. The biggest problem or the biggest issue in building a DIY electric car is the batteries. That really led the path to just like diving in there and exploring what kind of batteries, which ones were the best batteries. And I started looking at what the best guys were doing, and that eventually led me to the 18650 battery. Very quickly, I figured out that the same batteries that were on my bus and that I've been working for a couple of years, you could do the same thing and put them in a box in your garage and it can run your entire home. Traditionally, it was only hardcore guys like me, crazies, you know, that were like managing their battery. We like looking at what our battery's doing, what our voltages are. Crazies that are not afraid to like solder a bunch of stuff and, you know, blow some stuff up every once in a while. We're getting into a point where everyone's interested.
Lithium-ion batteries can be dangerous. You're storing a lot of energy in a small space. And when you're talking about building something the size of a Powerwall, it's not a small problem. It's you lose your house, you could lose your life.
It can be very dangerous to build a battery. You'd have to really do your homework and check each battery and test it, double test it. There's projects all across the world. They're messing around with batteries. They're salvaging them from dead laptop batteries. Here in America, we're about the most wasteful nation in the world. We don't just want to have batteries and power our homes doing cool gadgets, but we also want to do the responsible thing that's environmentally for the planet, you know? I realized that the best way it was going to be in these large-scale recyclers. Surplus batteries. They're brand new batteries. The recyclers get those, and then those, they make them available to us. You can literally grab those and screw a few of those in your wall, and that's a big enough pack to run your entire home.
There's a lot of study into what we can do with end-of-life batteries. The DIY market is huge because these are guys who are taking advantage of the fact that it's a less expensive alternative from buying new. The more people thinking about how to use batteries, the better. If they weren't being picked up by the secondary market, they'd either be recycled or just scrapped into the landfill.
Let's get on the road. There's a lot of other people that I work with, like Michael at EV West, right? He's converting old classic cars and putting a little bit of the, future in them. There's been a market that's been developing for a few years now where you pick your favorite car, then you electrify that. Because not only is electrifying a car is good for the environment, but it's actually very, very good in performance. That's what the EV West guys are doing great. Some of our favorite cars, the most iconic cars that you can think of, and they're electrifying them.
Yeah, no way. Yeah, buddy, what's happening?
All right.
Yeah, she's still running really good. In the middle of the day, we're not even really pulling out of the battery anymore. We're pretty much pulling everything solar.
Straight from the solar.
Yeah, straight from the solar. So I think when we started the Powerwall project, we were kind of doing it as a proof of concept. Like, we didn't really know for ourselves how viable it would be and if we could actually use just the Powerwall to drive. Lately, the growth has been exponential. Most experts will agree in the next decade, most all of our transportation will be fueled by electricity. There's a lot of people that express their individuality through their car or a classic car. And as the number of electric cars increases, the number of used battery packs available to us increases, and it just opens up a whole host of applications for the product.
So this is the first bug that has Model S batteries?
Yeah. Here we have a Tesla Model S module in the front. We're gonna do a total of 5 modules in this car. So we're gonna do 2 in the front, 3 in the back, and that will give us a total of 25 kilowatt hours. So this car will go about 130 miles on that.
Yes.
Something broke.
People are actually looking at, can we have a battery-operated airplane? But more than that, we're talking about quality of life improvements at the most basic level. Every time I think, oh, they're not gonna come up with something more that we can do with batteries, there it is, and it's cool.
This battery technology has the potential to change the world. But, with current things like what's happening in Puerto Rico right now, where people are without power for 6 months, if you have solar panels on your roof and a battery on your wall, then you don't have to rely on these systems that could go down at any time.
Seeing a bunch of people get together on the internet and using what some people would deem useless parts and creating something that actually has a use, and not only a use, but kind of a philanthropic use. It reduces emissions and it stabilizes the grid.
I think energy is important as the next big frontier, I think, that we as a society need to figure out.
Everybody is going to have batteries in their home. Everybody's going to use this technology. It's going to shape the future. Whether you know it or not, whether you care about it or not, it is going to be part of your life.